Well, guys, welcome. My name is Keegan Broderick. I am the sales manager for the state with UBuildIt. We are very excited to do this. We haven't done a seminar in a very long time, but it's nice to kind of do them here and there. It's a nice, fun, casual way to learn how this works. I also find another huge benefit of it is the huge value is questions. So please do not hold back. Reason being is so often so many people have different questions that you find apply to your job that you might have never thought about. So it can be very fun to kind of go back and forth on those. And if you ask good questions, I've got good gifts back here. So there you go. We'll have plenty of coffee mugs to hand out. Once again, welcome, and thank you for coming to the New Home and Remodel Seminar. Today we're basically just going to run through the details of what our planning phase is, the details of construction, how it works, how we actually save you money, where are the ins and outs, and everything there. To give fun backstory on UBuildIt, we are the nation's premier new home builder and remodel consultant. We are the top construction consultant for residential properties. We have, I'd probably say, most of our offices in Texas and Oklahoma, but I'd probably say 19, 20 nationwide. It's just kind of nice and fun for some buying power. There's a few things that really apply nationally. Insurances, things like that can be very helpful. Save some money. We have been around since 1988. Started in Seattle, Washington, and started franchising in 1998. Your benefit is this store here is actually the corporate store. So if you have any questions as to why it's too big, that's why. It's not because we charge you too much. And that is... so we're actually in the corporate space of this store, which is upstairs. Corporate has been run from Oklahoma City since 2011. The Oklahoma City office opened in 2007. Our Tulsa office is available to some of you that might live in Chandler or Okemah, places that might be close to here and there. It will be a benefit if that applies to any of y'all. Your next is... why use UBuildIt? There is a ton of reasons, and I'm not going to focus on just reading off the paper here because I could have just emailed that to you. There's a ton. Your first is quality control. You get to control your investment. My job is never to dictate to you. My job is never to look at you and say, this is going to cost $120 a foot and here's your features. It's completely up to you. And Doug, our financer, can attest to this. We have some at $80 a foot. We have some at $140. We have all concrete homes. We have very, very cost-effective homes where we even think about spacing the studs. It's up to my client's goals. It is not my job to dictate. So my job is to educate you as to the features that are out there and make sure you get the perfect home you're looking for. Make sure you see the options, and we guide you through each step of the way. Your next is minimize problems and mistakes. The joke I always make is, who do you trust more than yourself? It's kind of nice to be in charge, know where your money's going, eliminate markup, control your quality. A lot of ways we do that is from the financing world, which is very nice, and doing some owner-builder financing. Protecting your investment is huge. Your next is saving money. Do that in a ton of different ways, and we'll elaborate as how we flow through and actually do so. And building equity can be a huge aspect of it as well. All right. We flow in two phases. You have planning and construction. Believe it or not, I view, and this could be because I'm the planning guy, self-value, I view we do most of our work for you in planning. Planning is extremely important. It enables us to, when we enable you to be your own general contractor, and now please let me know if you look at me and say, Keegan, I don't have 10 to 15 hours a week, or Keegan, I don't have this available to me to do so, or it's intimidating. Please reach out, because we absolutely have programs that can have us more involved to help save you time and some energy and things of that nature. But planning is huge because we want to make building nothing more than executing a plan. We want to know your features in your home. We want to know the details of your home. We want to educate you as to where the cost is going in your home. That way it is custom to you. So there is nothing that is surprising. We want to go through those details. So planning, believe it or not, and I don't mean to freak anybody else out this, if you're wanting to start construction tomorrow, I can try to find a way. I might not advise it, but if it truly takes us about 3 to 6 months to go through the planning phase properly, between drawing the custom plans, whether you're a remodel and we're bidding the home out and having multiple jobs at the property to bid and different things to look at, because those can be packed with a lot of fun in those details as well. Then you have construction, which of course is just building the home. And I make that sound extremely non-detailed, even though it is. But luckily my construction guys aren't here, so I get to take the credit. Planning to go off the board, it's a feasibility study. Getting ready for the build, building your home on paper, we go through these steps of it. Very much so, I don't want to just look at you and say, come to me after you find a design and we'll tell you what the price is and we'll flow through. And if you're spending too much money, we can go from granite to Formica. There's a lot different ways to save money than just changing countertops. Yeah. It's a good $200. Yeah, there you go. $200 is $200. So that is it. Going too fast here, guys. There we go. I could have skipped that one. Planning phase. You have 5 pieces to the puzzle of planning. These are the steps we go through to make sure everything lines out properly. And if you're going to leave here by the end of the night, you're going to be like, God, that guy really loves planning. So apologize on that. With planning, our goal is to set a realistic budget. To tell you true, when we get started, I do not just want you to come in and say, Keegan, here's a design. Let's get started on planning. I want to know what you are wanting to do. I do not want to sell you smoke and mirrors ever. I want to have multiple meetings with you in the beginning to make sure we get to the end of planning and to construction, because that's the ultimate goal. Scott White, raise your hand. He's in the back here. He is our head of planning. He enjoys that, to make sure we have realistic goals, even though he can yell at us sometimes for selling $80 a foot here and there. But we want to review the details, making sure we're not selling you anything that can't be done. I always want to make sure everything's feasible, making sure you're not putting money into something to where we can't get you from point A to point B. Reviewing your land in your existing home, there's a ton of details there. It's usually your quickest and easiest of planning. Now, finding the land might be a struggle if we don't have land. Who here has land? All right. Hey, we need to get coffee mugs to everybody. Who here is a remodel versus a new home? Well, welcome. All right, thank you. So you have a nice part, as we got the property already. And land is wonderful to have. When you have land, it can be easier, because then it's just trying to figure out where's the right spot to put it. Sometimes we have half an acre and there's not really a question. Your other points are, we've got 80, and where's the right place to put it? Then your next things are diving into the details. Is a basement the right path? Is building it on pier and beam. I've got a home in Tulsa right now on the Arkansas River, and we're building it like a beach house to where it's 5 feet up in the air. We're building it on piers. A lot of those options can be fun, and we like to run through those. Your next is, I value basements. I view, now I haven't really done the research, so if you call me on it, I'm going to lose. I view we do the most basements in the state. We've typically got 3 to 4 going on at all times. I like to build with the land. I'm a huge walkout basement guy. We don't do a lot of fully enclosed basements, even though I think we have 1 or 2 going, don't we, Scott? Perfect. Reviewing the plan and design. I'm going into too much detail there. Yes, sir.
The basements are real common where we come from.
Yep.
Does the ground have to be right here?
Scott, I'm actually going to defer to that one because I've never got the ground being right. I know I've heard the water table before.
You have a very high water table. That's it. So you definitely have to make
Okay. Your net. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
tell me what I need to know, because what to do well, so we didn't just have to stick with this. I would advise you to get all the different you know. We are consultants, I consult you, give you the pros and cons of whatever your choices are. You're the ultimate decision. I just need to know is not.
No, you're fine. And I appreciate the question. Is there a slope to the land? Are you wanting to build into a hill?
Now we're going to build.
Okay. It's still a fun build. We've got a few full basements. The water table isn't necessarily an issue. If you are worried about the water table, ICF construction could be handy, I would say, because the styrofoam, I think that helps with the water. They can cost more because the frost line isn't crazy deep here. Yeah, no worries. There you go. Let's build a basement. There you go. The triangle. To tell you the truth, this is a bit early for the triangle, but it is our motto. By the end of this process, you are going to leave your final meetings of planning going, how many times can these guys bring up the triangle? So you have one corner budget, one corner finished quality, one corner square footage. Our motto is pick two. If you look at me and say, you've got 300 grand and you need 12-foot ceilings and gold sinks and 48 corners and a 12-12 roof pitch and a metal roof and things of that nature, beautiful. Let's build 1,500 square feet. Spend $200 a foot. That sounds fantastic. If you look at me and say, Keegan, I've got the budget of 400,000 or 300,000 and I need 5,500 feet. Beautiful. Let's do one bathroom. Very wide open walls and 8-foot ceilings. I can get you there. My motto is not to tell you that something can't be done. My motto is just to show you what you have to give and take. What we really try to focus on is to try to really help you find the perfect balance between all three. And what I mean by that is there's ways to design a home where you can get the same size and spend less, or we can get the same size for less. And what I mean is there's also a path of cheap footage, which is huge. Eliminating corners. Because believe it or not, your design's your biggest feature. Most of your money goes into your design. It is not in the flooring, the cabinets, going floor to ceiling, things of that nature. Now, those can get expensive. I don't want you to get down the road and go, Keegan said it wasn't expensive. But they can be more expensive. So a big part of what we want to do is educate you how to design your house right, or to your goals. And eliminate some wasted money if you have any. Yes, sir.
It sounds like you're saying the fewer walls, the better it is.
Exterior walls aren't necessarily a worry. I would say exterior corners are. Believe it or not, and I'm going to use my fancy whiteboard here since I have it handy. These are other sales training notes. That's not going to go away. Avoid the sales training notes. Envision they're not here. We have, say that's a 3,000 foot house. And then we've got this is a 3,000 foot house. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This home has 15 corners, or if I counted wrong, 14. This home has 4. This home will cost $11,000 more. Exterior corners matter. Between the cuts and the roof pitch, between the cuts, the foundation, the frame, every corner you have on your home is money. I don't know what happened there either. I'm having some technical difficulties. So corners are costly. Now am I telling you got to build a rectangle? No, we've got different style homes. However, if you kind of notice on our designs, and now I've got the people that are wanting to spend $20 a square foot on tile and they can have fun driving their Corvettes and all that stuff. However, a lot of our designs, I'm telling you not to build a rectangle. Now, if we want to build for $85 a foot, it's not a bad idea. But a lot of our designs, my goal is, where can we shave silly corners? Or you'll see those cuts in closets to where if we flattened it out, we could spend the same money, but eliminate $2,000 in corners, but you just got an extra 30 square feet. Or there might be places where we can get some extra square footage and spend less because you don't have the corners. Things of that nature. So those are really what details we're going for. I don't know what I did here. Doug, are you good with computers?
No.
That didn't work. There we go. So you are correct. Corners do matter. Exterior walls, or not interior walls, throw as many as you want. Lumber's a little bit more expensive than it typically is. However, it has yet to kill a deal, in my opinion, and we'll probably hit on that as we continue to go through. It has gone up, but it has not gone up. And Doug, can I steal you? Has lumber gone up on a home to the point to where we haven't been able to figure it out in the long run, to where we haven't been able to save money later on in the job or use the contingencies that are rightfully placed to save it?
We can, we kind of stay ahead of it, Scott was really good job at that. Typically, though, they go up, sometimes they go 15% a month, we take it off a month, and they'll go another 10% a month. From the beginning of COVID to now, what was it, increased 85 to 90%?
Woo!
Yeah, about 85 to 90%.
Yeah, it's not as it sounds. The percentage is like, oh gosh. I think it's been an average of $20,000 per home. Tell you true, and that's between 2019 to now, which is just heightened inflation. Now we go build a 7,000 square foot house. It can cost a little bit more.
Do the math for your lumber package is 20%.
Oh, okay, cool.
I did that one.
Yeah, there you go. So it's still cheaper than steel. So there, we got that going for us.
So how much was it right like a year before COVID?
Before COVID was $79 for lumber package, pre-commercial.
By the way, thank you for the questions. Yeah, no problem.
Cost of construction was up 43% over a year ago. Is that accurate?
I wouldn't say so. I haven't seen that big of an increase. Now, a year ago, could I build a home for $85 a foot? I could. I really could. Now, we'd have some give and take. We're not having 10-foot ceilings. We're not having stone everywhere, but we really could. Today, no, it's bumped up to about 95. So I've seen the base go up about $10 a foot, truly. Which your benefit is, and Doug, I'm going to ask you this question. I've noticed home values go through the roof. I'm having homes in the country of Oklahoma pull $165 a square foot. And 2 years ago, I was lucky if I got that in Oak Tree. However, what have you seen?
Same thing.
Okay.
Prices have gone up, to buy houses, the market has gone down. You've got people putting offers in way over what asking price is. All that stuff's driving appraised values up.
Yeah.
So even though building costs have gone up, purchases have gone up because of supply and demand. So it's not any greater cost to purchase than it is to build. They've both gone up.
Perfect. Yes, sir.
I think you just said that demand has gone up,
Right.
right? So what's bringing demand in?
It's not as higher than it's ever been. So what will bring demand down?
No, what's bringing it to town?
Oh, it's bringing it up?
What's causing the demand to go that far? You know? I mean, I don't see my neighbors moving out.
No. I don't
You might be too nice.
On the back end of that, I just hear from the realtors and customers that are turning in offers, and they ask for a pre-qual, then they say, forget it, we've already lost it because somebody asked $50,000 more for it. So I think it's a combination of coming out of COVID, people that were not doing anything are all doing something now, so therefore that's causing a higher demand. And I think, that's basically, that's as much as I can.
And I'll hit your question then, yes, sir. Rates. I mean, you could get what a $300,000 loan cost 2 years ago versus today. I mean, there's a $400 difference. So I think it's because people can buy more. And yes, sir.
I was just gonna actually fill in, so thank you.
No problem.
I think it's also a trend from people moving out of bigger cities. Because of, after the hit of COVID, people work from home, that 500 square foot or 200 square foot apartment in a city, not so appealing when you go out to, spend a little bit of money and run.
In Oklahoma?
Well, I think they're moving to more open spaces from out of bigger cities, so like out of Atlanta, out of Dallas, out of bigger cities, these kind of things come out.
We're getting a lot of people coming from California, we're getting a lot of people coming from New York, just trying to get away from all the racing. Not to be political, but that's the fact of it. We're going to Florida and Texas, but there's a lot of them that are coming to Oklahoma too.
There you go. So a lot of things, but yeah, we've got good business going. And the quote I'm using is cost has gone up, but I more view it as you're getting the value on the back end. So in a way, if you want to look at it, you're borrowing it from your future, which I've always been told is something really good to do. Thank you. Your first step of planning, budget. It, in my opinion, is the biggest. It matters the most. If you want to build a house for $200,000 and what you're showing me is $350,000, at some point, we're going to have a problem. We like to review budget with you in depth, especially before you ever get started. I mean this because I'm not trying to blow smoke or make it a bigger deal. It truly costs me somewhere, depending on the size of your job, 10 to 15 grand to get you through these 5 pieces of the puzzle. Between my overhead, the time it takes, the materials, the intellectual property, everything, that cost is there. Reason I am reviewing this is I don't want to put 15 grand of work into you if I don't think we're going to be able to get from point A to point B. Number one, I don't want to waste your time, money, and emotional energy, and I don't want to lose the profit if I can't get you where you want to be. So after this meeting, I advise you to get in touch with your planning consultant. If it's me, hooray, and sit down and review your project. Let's know what you're putting into it or that we're on the right track. Because we're not going to know what you're going to spend until we get out of planning. That's the quirky part. However, I want to know the parameters of what we're diving into before we start planning. That way, I don't cost you a hassle. Your next, it's setting realistic expectations. So I'm going to go off this. Discuss size and features, determine a ballpark budget. Your biggest thing is knowing what we're diving into, and to a certain degree, there's going to be that fluctuation, because when I meet with you and you show me pictures of homes, we're good enough. My people are good enough to where they understand that when you bring in a house with 40 corners and you're trying to do it for $95 a foot, you're not going to want those 40 corners when you find out it's costing you an extra $36,000. We can flatten the backs and the sides and leave the front pretty. We're going to be able to do those things and manipulate the cost for you. Other than that, your huge part is getting financing. And this is where I'm actually going to let Doug take the stage for a bit. He doesn't need a mic because he's taller and his voice projects further. And he is one of our top lenders. Doug, I've known you for 8 years, 10 years?
Since you were a wee little lad.
Since I was a young fella, skinnier too. Hey, marriage and security, it works. That being said, he does probably $2 million of loans for us a month. He has a great product. I find he is the cheapest because of the way they do things, and I will let you take it for there. Cheapest. Whatever. A synonym. So I'll let you take the stage.
Okay, my name is Doug. I'm with First United Bank. We're the largest construction lender in Oklahoma. Yes, larger than Bank of Oklahoma. And I actually do more loans, construction loans, than any loan officer in Oklahoma. I've been doing this a long time, and I do a lot of them. So I'm a really good resource to help you get through this. But before we do this, we've got to find out if you're smart enough to build a house, if you build. So Now you can look at this piece of paper, don't look at it yet, pick it up.
Is there anyone who hasn't gotten his test paper?
Okay, you need one. Okay. Don't look at it yet. We're gonna take only 2 minutes to do this, so if you don't know an answer, just go right on to the next question. Whoever gets the most correct is gonna win a really cool prize. And this is very serious, so you got, it's like school, like SAT kind of stuff. Husbands and wives can cheat, that's okay.
Husband, wife can
That's
cheat.
always how your husband's wife can cheat.
Anyone need a
This
pen?
also covers, we're not just focusing on one thing, so it covers math, science.
My mic's on. Oh, like it.
Okay?
I need you to answer questions at the end when people break out.
Partial answers can get credits. On the bottom three for the art, you're supposed to write down what you see. What does that look like to you? Is everybody done?
You're the only person I've ever met to give a test to earn business.
We don't waste our time.
I guess it works.
Scott, you got anything on yet? Not if you write fast. All right, one more minute. If you get stuck on one, don't dwell. Go to the next one. Hey, you don't look like you're participating. You look like the mom was doing it all.
Here, just pass it. Hey, dude, it's a good excuse if it doesn't go right. I'm 100% with you.
And I am not an artist.
We are better at building and financing than drawing. Don't judge us.
Is anybody done? Yes.
You think this test is easier than what you lead on?
Well, it's easy to me because I know what the answer is. You done? You done? All right, literally one more minute. We want to get you guys out of here.
Not too long, or not too fast. I like having friends.
Okay, anybody need any more time? Okay, I'm gonna put your pencils down. Pass your paper to, no, keep your paper, you're just doing this yourself. Okay, let's just go over it from the top. Okay, we're gonna start with math. First question, what two coins can you put together to make 30 cents and one of them isn't a nickel? What is the answer? Quarter and a nickel. Quarter and a nickel, why?
Because the other one is not.
Because the other one is a nickel. So one of them is not a nickel, the other one.
That's impressive, man.
All right, so give yourself a little correct mark there. Okay.
This test is
How
not
far
fair.
can a dog walk into the woods?
Halfway.
Bingo. Why?
I just want to get.
Why?
Because you can only go halfway.
And then you start walking back out.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, history. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Everybody knows the answer is? Grant. Wrong. Grant is just a monument for historical purposes. He was buried in his family plot somewhere in New York. So nobody was buried in Grant's tomb. So, yes.
He's buried.
Yes.
So that's his tune.
But he's not buried in Grant's tomb.
It's not a fair test. It really isn't.
Nobody's got it, so don't feel bad. Okay, let's move on to science. Okay, you're in a cave in the Antarctic and you're about to freeze to death. You need to start a fire to survive. You only have one match. You can't blow it. There's 3 items that you have with you to get the fire going. You have a piece of paper, a cotton ball, a bundle of twigs. What would you like first? Yes, the match. Did everybody not get that right? I give you something for being honest.
Hey, you get a cooler bag.
For being honest.
You're welcome. There you go.
We like honesty around here.
There you go. Let's give it away.
All right, next one. For English. In the classic movie Mary Poppins, there's a super long word used in a song. It sounded something quite precocious. How do you spell it? IT is correct.
This is a sharp crew.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We are in the Bible Belt, so I'm hoping everybody gets this right. How many of each kind of animal did Moses put in the ark?
0.
Anyone else have an answer?
2.
2? One of each animal? How did we create?
The middle of the female, right?
Well, okay. Wrong. Okay. 0. Anyone else? The answer is 0. Moses didn't put any. Nobody.
That's just not fair getting everyone else's answer after you got the right one at the first try.
Yes, it is fair.
That's fine.
Okay, now let's move to art. Because some people aren't, good at reading, writing, and arithmetic. Those are the artsy kind of people. So let's see how we do. Let's see if you're an artsy person. Okay, what is the first one?
Corner 9.
What? Say it again.
I wrote she wrote that.
What did you do? What did you write?
She wrote that corner and 9.
That's a really good guess, but wrong. What do you got? What do you got? Anything? A what? No. What do you got?
Soil.
I think it could have been slow.
A what? That's a really good guess, too. Wrong. A solar system. That's pretty cool. Way out of space on that. What do you got? What do you got?
Nothing. I'm thinking it's a type of art style, but I can't think of the style. I didn't answer anything on that one.
No.
Some sort of seeing up for reading of plants.
That's a good guess, too, but no.
Okay, so there were no directions, so I just copied your picture.
Hey, that's organization. That's what we like to see here. Okay?
Do as I'm doing.
Now, just like these other answers, even
I like the answer. There you go.
art questions, is that once you get the answer, it's like, I get it. You didn't see it, you saw the words, then all of a sudden you finally got it. Okay, this is a giraffe walking by a second-story window. You see it now? You see it? You see it? Okay, second one. What do you got for the second one? Volunteers.
Perspective.
Yes, what's your perspective? What do you got? A lot of people have TV that's wrong. What do you got? Anybody else got something different?
This is a giraffe dog, this is an ant carrying some horse.
That's close. What do you got?
No, I drew it.
No. What do you got?
Band-aid somebody took off his arm?
That's half right. So you have one. It is a band-aid covering a bug. Now you see it?
No, I just said that.
Yeah.
I said it was actually.
Okay, what is this last one? Any good guesses? I hear tired all the time, so no.
I put a flamingo pool.
That's a good guess, but no. What do you got?
I said Pokemon ball.
The young guy in the room, huh?
Anybody else?
Roundabouts.
Okay, yes.
Scarecrow?
You're moving down.
That's close.
Close.
It's very close.
You get half a point for that. Okay, it is a bird's eye view of somebody wearing a sombrero riding a bike. That's exactly what you would see if you were a bird looking down You see, you gotta see it, don't you? You don't want to admit it, but you see it. So okay, so tally up how many points you got right. Anybody that got at least a half a point right, raise your hand. Are you serious? You didn't get half a point right? Oh my God. Who got at least 1 point right? Raise your hand. 1.5. 2. 2.5. 3. 3.5. 3.5. Going once.
We've got a few threes, it looks like.
4. Does anybody have 4 or more? That's our winner.
Well, hot dang. Come on in, sir.
That's too bad you missed the quiz. You lost out.
Don't feel stressed.
So this is good to have while you're building a house or keeping your car a real nice little handy full-size tool set.
I really hope this isn't being streamed, but from the standpoint of if these people are watching, y'all did much better than the Tulsa crew about 3 weeks ago. So we're smarter than Tulsa.
There's a reason why we did this. One is you came in here wanting information. You didn't know, can I really build a house? I don't know if I can. But once they lay out this plan, and processing and budgeting, it's going to make sense, just like on the pictures and answers you just did here. And so one of the things, and I just thought of this metaphor, it's brand new. I thought of it like a couple hours ago.
Awesome.
So I'm going to share it with you. It's kind of like you guys are the conductor. You guys are the engine of what is it, the trains that you put coal in? Steam locomotives. This is your deal. And behind that, in your train, you're pulling your process, you're pulling your, what are our 5 things? Our budget and
Land and plans
and all that.
Job costing.
Now, what UBuildIt is going to be for you is the track. Because if you've got the wherewithal to drive your train and you don't know where you're going and you get off the tracks, you're not going to get very far. So you guys probably haven't built a house before, so what UBuildIt's going to do is they're going to be the tracks. Now what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to be the coal car, or I'm the coal. And I'm the lump of coal because that's what gives you the energy. You can have the engine, you can have the tracks, but if you don't have the money, that train ain't leaving the station. So what we're going to do is we're going to be the lump of coal, or the coals. So it's kind of like, life gives you lemonade, the life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So when you're a lump of coal, you can give energy to so you gotta have money to make this work. So that's what we do, is that we're going to lend you the money. And we can lend you, if you own your own land already, we can lend you most of the time 100%. So you won't need no penny. That's whether you're paying on the land or if you own it outright. If the land is entitled in your name, then we can go off the appraised value because the equity and savings you're going to have by working with UBuildIt, we can lend you 95% of the appraised value, which always equals 100% of your build cost. So that's one thing. If you close on your land and your construction at the same time, and that also applies on remodeling too. You already own the property, so we can lend 100%. We'll probably do 100%, unless you put in gold toilets or something like that. Then that'll be a problem.
Not this time.
Small gold toilets. We can squeeze a few in.
If you close out your construction and your land at the same time, then we can lend you 95% of what the price is. So that's still, most places, if you talk to any lender so far, they're going to want 15 or 20% down. We can do it 5% down or no money down. Sorry, go ahead.
I had the perspective that he was going to set us up so we're going to be able to build a really nice home for a little bit less than the building.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, sir. No, I don't want to cut you off.
And you just said that you would loan 95%.
Yes.
Is that the appraised value or the actual cost?
If you are buying the land and closing on at the close, the land and the construction at the same time, we can lend 95% of that project price. So you have 5% down. If the land is already in your name, even if you have 100% financing on the land, and you have never paid a penny on it, it's still in your name already, then we can lend 95% of the appraised value. So if you own, let's say you have $50,000 of land and you owe $50,000 on it, and you guys add $200,000 for a build on it, making it $250, and if it appraises for $270, then we can finance 100%.
Sir, to answer your question from the building standpoint, if all I am doing is providing you 5% equity, I need to go ahead and bankrupt the company. My job at the end of the day is value. I put that as, do I have a happy client or not, is if we have 15 to 20% of equity. It's nice that Doug can lend that much, and honestly, I find a lot of clients take advantage of it to buy a lot of land. I have some people that want to go buy 15, 30 acres and we can swing it because of that. However, my job is to make sure, my true goal is to show you how to not have PMI. Now, if you don't want, if you want a 1,200 square foot house, it can be difficult, but that is my goal for this. Yes, ma'am.
If we didn't get to the land, as long as it's retitled to you, is it?
Prior to our construction closing, then we can go off the appraised value. Good, great question. Okay, during the draw process or during your build, you guys will submit a draw once work has been done for things, and then we're going to put money in a checking account. We're going to open up in your name the first night of that closing the process. So that's how it works. And then by the end of the week, you can get paid your subs on your checking account once you verify the money is in there. So that's how that works. During the construction, you'll make interest-only payments during the process, so they'll start out very small. Then each month they'll get a little bit bigger, kind of like the credit card. If you have a credit card with a $20,000 balance, you don't pay interest on $20,000. You will pay interest on how much you spent for that $20,000 each month. So the payments start small and they go higher. I get a question, a lot of times people will call me and say, hey, does this UBuildIt thing really work? And the answer is yes. From a banking standpoint, we would not do it if it didn't work. The riskiest loan, let me just ask a question. What do you think the riskiest loan is that a bank can do? A construction loan. What is the riskiest of construction loans for a bank to do? A self-build.
You're also right.
The riskiest thing that we're, did I miss something? What don't they do? Because if they didn't finish the house and this didn't work, as a bank, we wouldn't be doing it. So the answer is yes, we do hundreds of these loans a year. We close them, they appraise for more than they did before, and so that's why we keep doing it. But what's odd is because most banks will not do self-build loans. They just won't do it. There's only 2 or 3 banks, probably maybe 4 in Oklahoma that will. Or one of them, and you're lucky that the one that you're not, because of that, we still, of any construction loans, we'll have the lowest cost, the lowest rates, we don't sell our loans. So so you win out by going through UBuildIt with this, yes.
How do the interest rates compare to the
You mean construction interest rates? They're typically higher. Ours is a point lower than most anybody else I know, maybe 2. Right now, construction interest rates right now are right around 3% on 3-year fix. Construction right now is at 4%. We pay interest only, but anywhere else in there, the banks are looking at 5 to 6%. So we'll be 1.5% less than any other bank.
And Doug, let me ask you, because this is the big selling point when you're always with my clients. Explain how you're cheaper. Because his shtick and the reason why I like to use him if we can is he will typically save a client on average $3 to $5 grand depending on the size loan on the back end when we go into the perm.
Because we do both. A lot of people will just do the construction loan and they'll send you somewhere else for a permanent financing. Or they're the permanent financer and they will send it somewhere else for the construction. Construction closing cost on the construction side is pretty even among anywhere in Oklahoma. The difference with us is on the construction perm, we're going to use your same appraisal. We don't charge you for some things the second time around. We give you back a good chunk of your what you pay, closing costs on the construction loan to cover it on the other. So for example, let's say I have a $300,000 house. You might have in the construction closing somewhere around 5,000, 5,500 for your closing costs under construction. But under construction firm, you're gonna have about $1,000 or less. With anybody else, with a $300,000 house, you're gonna have $4,000 or $5,000 of closing costs again. So because the way we do it, both of them, and the credit we give you back, you literally will save $3,000 using our program than literally anybody else in Oklahoma.
Beautiful.
Any other questions?
All right.
I'll hang around a little bit after in case you think of something or have something more personal, and appreciate it. Thank you.
Yay! The only group who's clapped for that test.
Also did.
No, they didn't. No, you're a liar.
I'm shocked.
That's funny. There you go.
They were the only ones out there. I've done this for years, and nobody was ever nice enough.
That's funny. Well, now it's a new thing.
Thank you. I'm embarrassed.
All right. So budget. And to finish budget properly, getting pre-qualified is the biggest thing we can do. Nothing is worse than going through planning, spending 6 months drawing a house, finding the right land, getting it deeded to you, and we can't get the loan. And I say this and I feel bad doing it. If anyone's like, I just don't like Doug, he's too tall, I do have other options that you can chat with on financing. It is UBuildIt an option, so I never want you to feel that way. However, he is my most cost-effective lender. If we can use him, that is the path I would advise you to do. Any money saved is good money. Your next step is project land with our planning phase. I know a few of y'all have land already, which is fantastic. Anybody here have over 5 to 10 acres? Yeah, beautiful. So we've got some options. That can be quite fun, walking the property. My job on the land is to basically, what's the cost? Are we falling? Is it better to do a walkout basement and cut in? I find that typically. You got land starting here and dropping to here. Instead of spending 30 grand building it up and doing piers, I'd much rather cut into the side of the hill and double your square footage for 20 grand more. A basement does cost more, but it can be doable. If we're building in a floodplain and we don't want to build and we've got to build up, are we better to build a house like you see at the lake and we build them on posts, tall stem walls, things of that nature? How long's your driveway? Do we have a well and septic? What's the land perking? Most of the times it's going to be an aerobic system here. However, you can get away with a lateral line system. Are we adding on to a home? Do we have to upgrade a septic? Is it better to do a new septic or add lateral lines? All of those details to it. And Rob Meyer, I'm going to call you for a second. I am doing this for remodeling because it can be a very big step on the remodel. Rob, what is the first meeting walking through on a remodel client to you typically? What are the things you're wanting to hit and go over to start off with success? And sorry for the new home people.
A majority of our remodels, we are adding square footage. Probably 70, 89% of them we're adding square footage. So when I go out and look at a site, I'm looking for big obstacles, things like septic tanks in the way, the electrical panels in the way, the gas lines are in the way, the AC's sitting there, is the land flattened off? We talked about that. Here. Those are some of the big obstacles that I look at, because if I look at a flat piece of land with nothing in my way, it's going to cost this much. But if I get there and the gas line's right here, the electric service is right here, the AC is sitting right there, and the septic's right over here, I've got to move all of that out of the way. So it may cost me an extra $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to get us about the way to be able to build square footage. So those are some of the things I look at when I first come in. And a lot of times I go out and maybe wanting to add on to this side of the house. When I see all those obstacles, I talk about, well, let's move over here and add it on this side of the house. We don't have to move all of those things. We can save $20,000 and get the same square footage. So, that's all part of the planning and design process that I try to help them do. You know, be most cost effective and get the most effective bids.
Beautiful. Thank you. I just wanted to touch base.
Just want to make sure I was here.
I wanted to make sure you're here doing your job. It's funny. So that is huge on remodeling. Reviewing, just from the standpoint of it, can be its own beast. Each job, to those of you that are remodeling and adding on. Project land, though, if you do not have land, I am a terrible realtor. I am sorry. I do not have MLS, and when I don't check Zillow anymore because I'd always send options and people would go, I don't like that property, so I don't know why I tried. So no. However, I want to come walk each property with you. Now, I don't want you to call me out if you haven't even walked it yet and see. I want you to go drive by and see the feasibility, but if you're moving fast and you've seen a piece of land that you like, I want to come walk it. One property might be 40 grand, one property might be 70, but this one requires 20 grand. And this one at 70 is only 10 grand more, but puts you in a better neighborhood where we can pull better appraisal, because those are things we want to look at your land walk as well. Because I truly mean this. If I'm not bringing you 20% equity, I'm not doing my job. Or and let me rephrase, if I'm not showing you how. My job is to show you how to get that value, and if I'm not doing so, I am failing. So we flow through there. Your next part is, and as a small selling point, with the equity, I can build you by keeping you involved, by eliminating cost on your design, things of that, by just educating and getting you that value. It opens up a lot of doors on financing to where I don't have to go get a land loan and then a construction loan and then a mortgage and all those details. We can usually wrap in your construction loan or into your construction loan, your land purchase, to keep your closing costs minimal, because we can build in that value. So it can be extremely handy to do so there, or even pay off land. I have a lot of farmers and families that section off land and we have to pay it off, or things of that nature. Your next, and on land on the other side note, if we're building out in the country and you're like, I've got 80 acres for a reason, and we're building 3,000 feet off the road, we'll discuss those costs so we can budget that, because you're building almost an interstate out to your home. Your next is plans. Plans are huge. Is a huge part of planning. Catherine, I'm going to have you wave to everybody. She is our top designer. She is with Timber Ridge Home Designs. They lease space from us here in our office. Catherine, aren't you an architect as well? I'm sorry.
I am.
Oh, wonderful. There we go. I always undersell her then. They are fantastic. However, I want you to know you do not have to use them. If you come to me and go, I bought this plan, I'm ready to go, or we already hired a local designer, great. I am options. I never want to dictate anything to you. My advice is, if you don't have to buy plans yet, please do not. Once you buy your plans, once we design the home, it can be set as to what your cost is. The chances of us being able to manipulate things goes down extremely low. And I know this is bad if someone's already bought their plans and I'm making it sound bad. It can be great. I love to build homes. What Catherine's job and Chris, her assistant, is to basically draw what you want. They charge a very fair rate, in my opinion. They charge 50 cents a square foot under roof. So if your home's 5,000 feet or more, it can cost more because they charge a base minimum of $2,500. I also like their cost from the standpoint of, I view it's a very high quality product. With Chief Architect, it does a 3D design of the home, and my construction team can laugh at this, the amount of times when we had CAD drawings and there was a staircase going out of the roof. When you start framing, that doesn't happen. So it really does eliminate uh-ohs in construction and make planning easier. Plus, you can do some fun 3D walkthroughs and everything. There you go. Your next step on design, why we view it as a huge process, is Scott White, Dave Oliver, Robert Duck, Glenn Lamb, and that's it. Their jobs are to meet with you as you are drawing a home. Reason being is, if we have a budget, I'm just going to continue the trend of using 300 grand, and you're drawing a $410,000 house. I want to meet with you now before we're 8 drafts in and we're emotionally connected to this thing to the point the deal's going to die. I want to review and show you we're sitting at 415. Why? Well, we've got 34 corners. Well, here's the cost of your roof pitch. And you're doing a 12-12 versus we could get away with a 9-12 because you're not doing too much bonus footage. You've got so much garage space, you're not seeing the cost of it because it's $35 a square foot for your garage, or it's 25 foot for the porch. Wraparound porches are beautiful. However, start at 30 grand. And we want to show you these things because once again, it's not my house, it's yours. And it goes into the big aspect of my fees. So to tell you what I charge, I have a $2,500 engagement fee. That is when you have sat down and reviewed with your planning consultant that this is the right path for you. Design, now you are not stuck to them, charges $2,500. That is for remodels and new homes. Remodels, we will come out and draw your home as is and then draw it with the addition and do the same amount of drafts. With a new home, I am $6.85 a square foot, and that is a square foot under roofs. That is porches, garage, and livable footage. On a remodel, I am 20% of cost, and the cost is dictated by you. And what I mean by that is I'm not here to tell you it's going to be $76,392.17. Here you go. You get to control the budget. My job is to show you what things cost in the bids and where they fall. The plus option, so everyone knows, is if you look at me and say, Keegan, it sounds great. I don't have 10 hours a week, or I live out of town, or we're moving in. It's an extra $3 a square foot on a new home and an extra 10%. It is where we act as your project manager. I would probably say 25% of our clients run through it from the standpoint of time or hassle or anything that might pop up. Going into that, and reason I break down my fees is I want you to know as to what you do. I do not care. And now I don't mean that as I'm going to give you a book and a hammer and say, let's go have fun. Call me if you need me. I mean that from the standpoint of if we do stained concrete floors at $2 a foot, or if we do hand scraped herringbone hardwood floors at $12, I make the same. If your framer is $4 a square foot or $8 a square foot, I make the same. Why I do that is I want you to know I have no skin in the game as to what you cost. I have no want to manipulate you to try to do higher end features or not be able to see the appliance package for $1,700 to give you over expensive subcontractors. So I want you to know I'm in this for you. And that is why we run it that way, is we want you to know I am not trying to manipulate anything. So in those design meetings, it can be quite nice because I'm going to be able to show you we're at $410,000. Now, what are the features? Because it can go back to the triangle. You have cost, size, features. Are these features that you're like, oh, Keegan, if I can't have the double-sided fireplace, I'm not going to do this. Well, then perfect. Let's figure out a way to work. Are we buying land? Do we need equity? Let's bring up cheap footage. A huge thing that we like to bring up is you have 3 types of homes in the state of Oklahoma. And once again, Doug's even a better drawer than I am, so apologies. Your first is your 1-story. 8-foot ceilings, 2 bathrooms, brick and siding, stained concrete and carpet, no garage, no porch, no driveway, no dirt work, no nothing. I'm going basic, okay? And let's say it's a 2,500 square foot house. Your basic base price is $70 a foot. That's for a rectangle with 8-foot ceilings and 2 bathrooms. You then have what we call a full 2-story. Believe it or not, this costs an extra $5 a foot going up. Reason being is now I've got a stronger foundation to be able to handle the cost. I've got to up the framing. We've got the same amount of brick and siding and stone on the upstairs as I do on the downstairs. It gets expensive, so it starts to run the cost up. However, we're going up is cheaper. And a place we really like to take advantage of and use is what we call bonus footage, which is building the space inside of your attic. Believe it or not, I can build that for about $45 a foot. Reason being is in that $70 a foot, I was already going to have lumber up there, hold the weight of your roof and to build your roof. All I have to do is upgrade it now. Build a staircase, build some dormers, maybe some gables, get egress, everything. But finishing out a shell can be so cost effective because I have no brick, I have no siding, I have no stone. All I have is upgraded lumber. That's a huge way we like to take advantage of. And ways we can, and this is the wrong term to use, but maybe manipulate your design to get you the same square footage and features that you want for less. Eliminate corners, lower your roof pitch, use bonus footage. And these are the things we want to educate you on because once again, it's not my house, it's yours. Perfect. So that can be very handy throughout your design. You will have multiple meetings. It probably takes, Scott, 6 weeks, 8 weeks from the start of design to final. I might even ask Catherine that.
35 days is the average planning.
Okay.
If you're doing a cash job, you do it in a week. No, that's what I got. The contractor you go is 3 years. They can extend the contract. What you, how fast you want to.
We do not want to take 3 years if you don't want to take 3 years, by the way. I don't get scared. You'll get tired of me. I'm not that fun, at least what my wife says. But no, you've got the design of your home will flow very well, and you'll have the budgets. Then you have your specification meeting. This will be a day where you guys come in for 6 to 8 hours. We are going to, and for remodels, we will come out there for probably 4 to 6. It's not going to be as intense. If we're adding on 2,000 feet, it can be longer. And we're going to come out and we're going to build your home on paper. And on new home, it will be in office. It's not my house, it's yours. We've got post-tension cable, monolithic, traditional, pier and beam. What kind of foundation do you want? This is where I think we really separate ourselves from everyone else out there. From the standpoint of your typical spec meeting with the builder is, this is my foundation, this is my frame, this is how I do it, here's the cost, let me know when you want to get started. And that's not me knocking them. I think a lot of builders do a lot of great work. However, they don't know as much as us. And that's not me trying to down them at all. There's no need. They found what worked. It worked for them. Why change? I've built quality, so they never learn different options. My job's to learn different options. I've got a 900 square foot house in Anadarko that has 8-foot ceilings and is an old farm style. I've also got a house I just finished on 46th and Liberty in northeast Oklahoma City, and it had flat roofs and it was modern. It was stucco and it was a very fun build. So we've got a lot of options out there. It's not my job to dictate. Sometimes we want to do a basement. You've got ICF, you have SIPS panels, you have concrete tilt-up walls, you have custom pours. What do you want? What's the cost of these things, and where are you wanting to spend money? So your spec meeting, I want to educate you. What's a 2x4 versus a 2x6 wall? What's the difference in cost? Is the 2x6 wall needed if we have spray foam insulation? A white window versus a black window. Why does a black window cost 3 times as a white? It attracts more heat. The frame's got to be triple the size. I also think it's a little bit of because they can, and black windows are pretty, and Chip and Joanna Gaines didn't do you any favors. So we are going to run through those details. What's the difference between brick? Your beautiful part about brick in Oklahoma is a lot of it's made with our red clay. So it can be cheap versus other parts of the nation. Stone can be more expensive. Why? Your different fireplaces. So how do we build your home? At the end of this meeting, we will have a 12-page budget of exactly what you are spending based off estimated prices. We are going to submit that to the lender. Reason doing is it takes 6 weeks or so to get into the bank and out of the bank. Doug's slow. So it can take a long time. I do not want to wait for your bids to come back before we do so. So we're going to use current lumber prices, current framer prices, roofing, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, input it in that, and start your process. Reason we do that is to get flowing there, but also know what we're spending. Because at the end of that budget, and I'd probably say there's a 3% swing from your estimated budget to build. So you will have a 3% swing from the standpoint of who knows what sheetrock's going to be in 9 months when you're buying it, because that's where we are here now. However, we do put contingencies in your loan to cover if it ever goes north, because once again, you got to move into the house. If you don't move into the house, no one's happy. So we flow through there. In your spec meeting, we will know the details of your home. We will package everything off and we will send it to the bank. If you are remodel, yes, ma'am.
So from the planning to get it built, is it about
9 months to a year.
9 months?
Yep. on average. Remodels can be shorter depending on what we're doing. But yeah, it can take 3 to 6 months in planning, and I usually tell people 6 months to 8 months in the build, and and weather can be meaner than that sometimes, because you can have negative 12 degree weather in Oklahoma. Whoever knew that? I mean, really, man, it was weird. So that can pop up, but I would say 9 to 12 months on average from start of planning to moving in. And by the way, if you are wanting to move faster, you can. I've had the ladies who enter in their 3rd trimester of pregnancy and move in before they have the kid. So it all depends on your motivation, I have found. We are here to move at your speed.
Do you have to be your subcontractor?
That is a fantastic question. Thank you. I totally would have forgotten about that. You do not have to use my subcontractors. You have a huge benefit with me. We are the largest custom builder in the state of Oklahoma. We do 200 projects or more a year between this office and the office in Tulsa. I will be able to buy you labor. I will be able to buy you material cheaper than anyone else in the state, other than a tract home builder, but you're not working with them, you're here, you're custom. So that can be very nice. However, you do not have to use my subs. So often, I'll have an electrician that's one of my clients. He's like, I'm not paying someone 15 grand to wire my house. Let's go in. Or we're going to build this house for $80 a foot. Pick up a paintbrush. Let's go. You have friends that are in the market that can do things. A lot of people go to church with a great trim carpenter. Those different details. So you absolutely can use them. You going to build your house? She was offering you there, man. She's ready for you to get to work. That's not really fair. She's ready to get you out of the house. That's true. Free labor. It's important. So it's funny. So in that spec meeting, we will go into those details. After your spec meeting, we will go to your job costing stage. That will be, on a cash deal, it takes me about 2 to 3 weeks to bid out a home between getting the bids in. However, I am going to get 3 frame bids: electrical, plumbing, roofing, HVAC, drywall, trim carpentry, cabinetry, countertops, shingles, everything before we start construction. Now, of course, some things might fluctuate. Cost of material can go up, some things of that nature. Some subcontractors might say I'm worth more now. That's why we get multiple, so you're not stuck with one. And we want to know the hard cost to build the bones of your home. I am a huge, if you ever want to ask, do I like features or quality structure? I am a huge quality structure guy. It's the joke I always make to clients. Would you rather have a good body or a good wardrobe? I'll take the body. This looks good in most things. So I believe having strong bones. So my job is to educate you how to do so. We're going to bid everything out, know the details, know the cost to build the bones of your home before you ever start, and that is your job costing. At the end of that, you have successfully completed the planning phase. You are moving into construction. Woo! Any questions on planning? Yes, ma'am.
What's your vetting process for the subcontractors? Do they have to go through a series to be approved by you, insurance requirements, that kind of stuff?
They just have to bring us snacks. I'm sorry, I'm teasing. No, that is an absolutely fantastic question. Yes, they have to go through an extreme vetting process. I will not use them if they do not have general liability and workman's comp insurance. Their workers and their work must be covered to be in my network. They must also have references. They must have also been approved by one of our construction consultants walking more than 3 of their jobs before they ever start. I also advise, if any of y'all know of subs that are nice and local and that you're going to use on your house, please introduce them to me. My subcontractor network is usually built off that. your cousin's an HVAC guy and I'm able to work out a deal because of quantity, things of that nature. However, I will tell you, our quality subcontractors, which are all, the majority have been in our system for over 7 years. I mean, Custom Crete, how long they've been with us, Polar Bear Jacks, Ace Electric, there's a ton. So you will have very well vetted subcontractors, and it goes to, and it's a great question that you asked, because I have found this, especially in the last year, and the demand's been crazy. It's really nice to get the attention from a subcontractor or supplier as the largest custom home builder in the state. You're not just a Joe Schmo walking up saying, wire my house. You're UBuildIt. So you're the first call to be picked up, not the last. So that can be very nice. I also will tell you, your consultants will review each sub with you in the field before you ever make a decision. Sometimes guys get busy. Some framer might get a 50,000 square foot apartment complex and I'll have all 4 of his crews there for 2 months. And we don't want you waiting that long. So we always want to review your multiple bids as we move into the process. All right. Any other questions on planning? Need the Jeopardy music? Teasing. Construction phase. Construction is extremely fun. When you close, will have a 2.5-hour meeting with Ron Brown, our construction manager, and he will be reviewing the details of how to get this started. You will also be given a book this thick, and it will have every tool and resource you might possibly need. I see the grimace. That's funny. I wish I had an example. It can be used as a workout tool as well because of the weight. It is how to build your house on paper. Now, am I going to give you this book and say have fun? Not at all. You will be assigned one of 12 construction consultants with over 30 years of construction knowledge apiece, typically. Some might be 20. These guys are great. And their job is to be your guide throughout the process. There will be 25 site visits that are at scheduled times as we view the milestones. They will come review the work that was done, make sure it was done properly, and guide you as to the steps to come so you are never lost. In your construction manual, you have checklists to stay organized. You have change order forms just in case things change with subs. You will have a schedule custom built to you as to when to pull permits, when to call this person, when to call that person, and have the details ready. You will also have every single bid and worksheet prepared or collected in that book, so you have your options available to you. Making sure I'm even covering the process. Yes. Typical savings for UBuildIt. So how this is not smoke and mirrors. Where I save you money, where I save you that 20%. One is fees. I charge less. Even if you have a guy saying, I'll do it for you for 20 grand, I charge less. You don't know what his cost is going to be at the end. You don't get to see the numbers. Next is, we are the largest custom builder in the state of Oklahoma. I hate banking on it because sometimes you have relationships and things like that, but that's worth a few percentage. Builder's insurance, believe it or not, because we're an owner builder, there's some silly insurances you don't have to carry that a general contractor would by state law and has to charge you. So there's some savings there. And if we use proper insured subs and suppliers, you're going to be just as covered as normal. And I can ensure you that because I have the stories and we've gone through it. Your next 2 biggest, and this isn't the biggest, but it's one of education. No one's going to tell you that a corner's $1,000 as we're going through the process. A builder wants you to have 24 corners, 40 corners, because that also makes him $2 to $3 more grand. I'm going to educate you as to where your money's going to enable you to take control, make sure you don't have costs that's not needed, or show you the cost of a 12-12 roof pitch if you're like, oh gosh, that's $8 grand, why would I have that? Or if you look at it and go, it's only $8 grand, I love 12-12 roof pitches. It gives me an excuse to not hang Christmas lights. Our job is to walk you through those details in planning. But your biggest is I eliminate markup. And the way I do that is I have great relationships with Doug and other lenders to where I can guarantee this be an owner-builder loan. You're with a traditional builder, you are going to look at him, you're going to go through your spec meeting, you're going to show him pictures, he's going to look at you and say it's going to cost, and I'll keep using the term, $300,000. And you're going to go to a bank and you're going to get a loan based off your money, your credit, your income, and the bank's going to look at you and say, okay, when's the last time you built a house all the way up? And you're going to go, probably never, depending on who you are, and thank goodness you wouldn't be here if you have. And they're going to go, perfect, well, I'm going to give the money to Doug the builder. And he's going to get the first draw of 40 grand and buy lumber. And let's say in that 300 grand, he budgeted 40 grand for lumber and he got it for 35. Well, who keeps that 5 grand? Doug the builder. Absolutely. You don't see the money. You're buying a home you drew. And it's a great product and it's fun. With me, you write the checks. So when we buy lumber for 5 grand, it's 5 grand extra. Let's go buy furniture, or sorry, don't tell Doug that. Let's save 5 grand. Let's go upgrade appliances, things of that nature. If we're at a painting stage and your builder goes, Javier, I need you to give me $1,500 off. I'm really struggling to cover this interest payment on this spec house. Give me your low-end crew. Who saves $1,500 and who gets the low-end crew? Client gets the low-end crew, builder saves the money. And here's your funny thing. I don't really care if you do get the $1,500 off. I want you to have the option of making the $1,500 if you don't care about your paint quality. Makes no difference to me. My job is to eliminate that markup and show you how to save that money, which is the huge part of our process. Sweat equity can be fun. If you've got the time, or a wife who's ready to kick you out of the house, please enjoy, please do it. I will never tell you not to. I do implore you on sweat equity to look at your true cost. If you look at it and say, I'm not going to pay a painter 10 grand, and it's going to cost you $2 grand for the materials, so that's $8 grand worth of savings. And then you're going to be working on it for 2 months versus 2 weeks. So that's an extra 6 weeks of interest. So let's call that $1,000. So now we're at $7,000 of savings. And then we go into, and now I want you to value your time. What do you make it work? What is the stress? Value your family time. The stress of not taking a day off throughout the entire process. How does that add up? And then I want you to apply that to the final savings. And look at the true cost of doing sweat equity, just from the standpoint of we hate to see you stuck. From there, rock on, do as much sweat equity as you want, and start building, or continue to build. I forget we're building. It is a proven system. I do build equity. We have built over 14,000 homes nationwide since 1988 and built way over 1,000 in the state of Oklahoma. We can help you. We have over 300 years of constructive knowledge collective in this office. I don't think a single custom home builder or remodeler can say that because of our staff. And we'd love to work with you. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, could you go back? Home warranty is that?
Huh?
You said something about a home warranty on what you're
Home warranty?
What is that? Warranty or home warranty to protect your investment?
Yes. Protect your investment. Warranty your home. You absolutely can. My subcontractors do that with their insurances. I have had clients buy a 210 warranty just to cover themselves. It's like $500. Covers if paint chips or a shower door falls out, things of that nature. However, as we do the checklist throughout the build, I advise you to never pay a subcontractor or supplier until my consultants have come out, reviewed the work, and made sure it was done right to make sure you're paying on a completed product. Perfect. All right. Yes, sir.
If the land is not set to save, does that matter?
No, believe it or not, I do more jobs in Enid and Ponca City than I do in Edmond. My system works very well out in the country. Number one, we bring in lower price subs from more metro areas that can cost more because they travel, but they're usually less than local subcontractors because your small town guys are just like, I'm the only electrician. We charge this. So we like to bring competitive prices in. And your next is it works because with UBuildIt, I'm not out there every day. If I was your builder and I was out of the city, it would be tough because I'd have to be there every day. I enable you to be your own builder. Yes, ma'am.
As the beginning, do you have to do a mortgage or do you?
Please, cash.
No.
Plenty.
Okay.
This is our lender. No, you do not have to finance. Oh.
Okay, what's
Yes, sir.
all in generally your fees you build? Stick with your $300,000.
$300,000 house, depending on the level of features, because some could be a beautiful 2,200 square foot house, some could be a 3,200 square foot house, cost effective, somewhere between $22,500 to $28,000 or so. And that's on a home. Your average remodel, depending the size, somewhere between 10 to 20. I know that's a large range, but they can be so unique.
So it depends on how much it costs or how big the project is.
We go based off the size of the home, so it is based off the square footage. Yes, ma'am.
So when you look at, you showed the savings slide, when you look at going to UBuildIt and going otherwise in actual dollars.
Yes, sir.
I'm done building, am I going to spend less after I pay your $25,000 fee?
You will. Yeah, because within that $300,000, whenever we get to giving you specific numbers, we'll include our fee. And yes, my job is to save you money. Between eliminating markups, showing you the cost, I will, on a small home, because your margins are smaller, save you 12%, worst case scenario. On a big home, I can save you as much as 25 to 30%, especially if we're going with more high-end features, because that percentage on a builder starts to really grow, and my fee stays the same because it's square footage. So it can be extremely helpful. A big home, I would probably say our average right now is about 2,500 square feet. Anything over that? I've done the ones that are like 9,000 feet under roof, and those are crazy. You don't see those as commonly. But yeah, over 2,500. All right, guys. Sorry for keeping you so long. Thank you for coming. We have planning consultants, construction guys, lenders. Come find us if you have any one-on-one questions. Yeah.